Hey, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to dive into a really cool framework for getting way more control and precision from our AI assistants. It's all about making them the right tool for the right job. And it all kicks off with this one powerful word, Grok. So, this word Grok, it actually comes from science fiction. It means to understand something so deeply, so completely, that it basically becomes a part of you. And that is the perfect word for what we're digging into today, a system that helps AI not just do tasks, but truly understand the kind of thinking you need for them. All right, here's what we've got on top. We're going to start with a problem a lot of us have with AI. Then, introduce the core idea for solving it. After that, we'll get into the details of the solution, these 4 levels of Grok. See how it all works under the hood, and then walk through a real-world example. Sound good? Let's jump in. Okay, so first up, let's really frame the central issue that this whole framework is built to solve. So, have you ever felt this? I mean, really, you ask your AI for a simple one-line fact and what do you get? A whole essay. Or maybe you're trying to brainstorm and it's just stuck in first gear. It acts more like a calculator than a creative partner. That is the exact problem we're talking about. And the reason for that feeling is pretty simple. Most of these AI assistants, they're built with just one general purpose personality. It's designed to be friendly and helpful for, well, everything. But as we all know, everything is a massive, massive category. I mean, just think about the crazy range of stuff we ask AI to do. One minute, it's creative brainstorming, which needs this expansive, out-of-the-box thinking. The next, it's structured technical analysis, which demands absolute precision. When you force one personality to do all of that, it's bound to fall short. It either over-explains the simple stuff or just can't get creative when you really need it to. So, how do we fix this whole one-size-fits-all mess? Well, the solution starts with a completely new way to think about AI behavior. Instead of just thinking of AI as smart or not smart, this framework lays out its reasoning on something called an initiative spectrum. And the spectrum runs all the way from super mechanical and literal to totally creative and exploratory. And this visual here really helps it click. On one end, you've got low initiative. Think of this as the AI being really buttoned up and procedural. On the other end, high initiative, where it's basically given permission to be way more creative and run with ideas. And here's the breakdown of those two extremes. Low initiative is all about that mechanical reasoning. It's precise, it's reliable, it's like a really good software utility. High initiative, on the other hand, is all about creative reasoning. It's for brainstorming, for coming up with new ideas, for expanding on concepts. Okay, so this whole spectrum idea, it gives us a fantastic framework for creating 4 totally distinct operating modes, or as this system calls them, Grok levels. Each one is like a specialized tool designed for a specific kind of job. This table lays it all out beautifully. You've got 4 specialized agents. First, default Grok. That's your balanced, everyday assistant. Then there's boring Grok. Sounds funny, but it's the super low initiative agent for those literal procedural tasks like checking data. Collaborative Grok is your structured reasoning partner, perfect for things like planning. And finally, creative Grok. That's your high initiative powerhouse for brainstorming and generating new ideas. This is awesome, right? But you might be wondering, how in the world do these agents keep such different personalities? Well, the secret sauce is in their underlying architecture. See, each of these agents is guided by what's called a governance directive. And you should think of this as a set of persistent, hard-coded rules that defines its entire reasoning style. This isn't just a one-off prompt you give it, it's more like its fundamental constitution, which makes its behavior super predictable. And these directives have layers. It's a whole architecture. For instance, tone discipline controls how it talks to you. Is it going to be formal, short and sweet, or really expansive? Behavioral constraints actually limit what it can do, stopping it from using certain kinds of reasoning. And escalation logic is crucial. It determines when the AI should just stop and ask you for clarification instead of trying to guess. This level of control is what makes sure that boring Grok, for example, stays strictly on task and doesn't suddenly try to write you a poem. Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, but what does it actually look like when the rubber hits the road? Let's walk through how you'd actually use this whole multi-agent system in a real project. So, here's a typical workflow. You might kick off a project with default Grok just to do some initial research and get the basic facts. Then you'd switch over to boring Grok to process some data or validate facts with total precision, no interpretation. Next up, you bring in collaborative Grok to help you plan out the workflow and weigh your options. And finally, when you're ready for the big ideas, you unleash Creative Grok for some serious brainstorming. You just seamlessly switch between them, using the perfect tool for each stage of the work. All right, we've covered a ton of ground, from the problem to the solution. So what's the big idea here? What's the main thing to walk away with? The biggest takeaway is this. The goal isn't to find one perfect, one-size-fits-all AI. It's to have a toolkit of specialized reasoning styles that you can pick from. This completely changes the game. It transforms the AI from a chatty partner you constantly have to manage into a configurable tool that you adapt to your specific needs. And that shift is a massive deal for making AI a truly reliable and productive partner. And this quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. It's not about making AI more intelligent in some abstract way, but about giving us more control. That intentional, deliberate control is what really unlocks its potential. And that leaves us with a really powerful final thought. What if the future of AI isn't about building one perfect, all-knowing supermind, but instead about creating a versatile toolkit of many specialized minds that we can direct with purpose, with precision, and with a true grokking of the task at hand?